Hey guys, what is going on? It's Nem here, and in this video we're taking a look at my Priority sauce. This is my newly acquired belt-driven bike that I purchased about 2 weeks ago, and in the 2 weeks that I've had it, I've put just about 200 miles on it. So I wanted to do this video and give you guys my honest opinions and thoughts on this specific model. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Priority Bicycle Company. They are a New York-based company that specializes in building belt-driven bikes, and one of my reasoning for getting a belt-driven bike was because I've never owned one, and I know they are fairly reliable and also pretty much maintenance free. So I wanted to check out what the fuss is about, and I decided to go with the sauce because it was one of the more affordable options. Plus I also love the mountain bike styling of it as well. So in this video I'll talk you guys through my experiences with the sauce, both on the street and also on some of the lighter trails that I have taken it to. So hopefully this video will be helpful for you guys who are looking into getting the sauce. So let's get going. As the sauce will be mostly used in an urban setting, I thought that I would kick off this video by riding the sauce through the downtown area of the town in which I live. This video will focus on a couple of different things. I want to talk to you guys about my general opinions on the build quality of the bike. Also, I'll go through some of the components of the bicycle as well. Then later in the video, I will talk to you guys about my experiences with the bike, both on-road and off-road. And then lastly, I will talk to you guys about some of the issues that I've run across in the 2 weeks that I've owned the bike, or in the 200 or so miles that I've put on it in those 2 weeks. So as far as the general build quality of the bike is concerned, I am fairly happy and pleased with the overall build quality. This is an aluminum frame, which may seem kind of strange because, again, this is a bike that's intended to be used mainly in the urban setting, and generally bicycles, especially single-speed bicycles that are meant for this kind of use, tend to feature a steel frame, as they are a bit stiffer and also a bit more comfortable. However, I can't really say that I've had any issues with the comfort on the sauce. In fact, I love this frame for two reasons. The first reason being it looks amazing, and the second reason being it's actually extremely well built. The welds on the frame are absolutely seamless, and I'm not really sure if Priority actually designed this frame, or if they just kind of pick up some off-the-shelf frame made in China and then design a bike around it. It doesn't even matter to me because it is a good-looking frame that feels sturdy enough and is or feels actually nice and reliable. So it ticks all of the boxes that I needed it to tick. So I'm happy with the build quality of the frame. The handlebars, as you guys can see, feature this unique design where the stem is actually integrated into the handlebars. They look good, they feel good, and just like the frame, the welds on them are also seamless and they look really pleasing to the eyes. I think the brushed aluminum actually goes really well with the green paint scheme on my specific bicycle. I think the bike also comes with a gray paint scheme. However, when I purchased the bike, that wasn't an option. However, in their marketing materials, they seem to feature that specific bicycle. So I'm not really sure if they just don't have any stock, or maybe if there was a color featured on a last year's model. But the green color that I have here, is amazing. But I will talk to you guys about the paint a bit later in the video, as I do have a couple of interesting things to say about that as well. As far as the components are concerned, the bottom bracket on this bike is square tapered. I'm not really sure who makes it. Some of the guys that I spoke with online were a bit disappointed that it wasn't hollow. Not a big deal to me. It does kind of look strange to see a square taper bottom bracket on a bike that's sold in 2023. But that's a bulletproof system. I don't really have any issue with that as well. Also, a couple of guys that I spoke with on Reddit voiced that they were a bit maybe disappointed that the bike didn't have a through axle. Again, that's not a big deal to me. This isn't really a mountain bike. It's kind of a mash pit of a bunch of different bikes kind of combined into one. So again, not a big deal, and for everything that I've put the bike through, it behaved extremely well. So I can't really complain about those two issues. One thing that I do want to point out is that one guy voiced that he was hearing an unusual creaking coming from the bottom bracket and the crankset. I've not had that issue. I've actually taken the bike off-road multiple times, and when I'm off-road and especially when I'm climbing hills, I have to put my entire weight onto those cranks, and I've had zero complaints whatsoever. Zero noise has come from those cranks during my testing. I'm assuming that maybe in his case the bottom bracket wasn't fully seated into the frame, or maybe the cranks were a bit loose, because I've not had that issue whatsoever. As far as the wheels are concerned, they are alloys, they are tubeless compatible. They do not come tubeless from Priority, and that's pretty much all I can say about them, because I wasn't able to find a ton of information on them, and in the 200 miles that I've put on this bicycle, they've behaved as they should have. So I don't really have anything bad to say about them, nor do I have anything really positive to say about them. They work as they should, and that's good enough for me, and I think it should be good enough for most people as well. The brakes are kind of interesting. So they are 174 Hudson branded, which Priority advertises as their in-house brand. I have a suspicion that these are just some Chinese off-the-shelf hydraulic disc brakes that Priority sticks their logo onto. I don't know if that's the case. I think that it is. They work actually well. They are hydraulics, which is nice. One issues that I'm personally having, and this might not be an issue with you if you purchase a sauce, is that my rear brake is feeling a bit spongy. There's quite a bit of play in it as well. I'm assuming it's just because there is a bit of air in the chambers, and maybe even or in the cables as well. So I'll have to bleed the brake and see if that does anything for it and whatnot. Going with maybe some mid-range, Tektros or maybe Shimano's and whatnot would have been a better choice. But it's kind of cool seeing these brake levers that feature 174 Hudson branding, because it's something different, it's something new, nobody knows what it is and whatnot. So it's kind of a conversation starter, and just the fact that they work okay is all that matters to me. So again, I can't really say anything negative about the brakes, and from the testing that I've done and the riding that I've done, they behaved extremely well. Minus the issue that I mentioned with the rear brake feeling a bit spongy. As far as other components are concerned, and again, this being a single speed bicycle, there isn't a ton of stuff that I can talk about other than the drivetrain, which is absolutely fantastic. In fact, the drivetrain, the Gates drivetrain, is the best feature of this bicycle in my opinion. It is absolutely perfect. The Gates drivetrain is actually the reason why I purchased this bicycle. And even though this is a lower spec drivetrain from Gates, in this configuration, this being a single speed, it works extremely well. In fact, again, it's flawless. It is quiet. It is always stays clean. It's given me zero issues whatsoever, and I've actually kind of abused this, especially when I was off-roading during the last couple of days. I would go uphill and I'd put all of my weight onto those cranks, and it just goes. It doesn't make any noise. It's so smooth. It is perfect. It is absolutely perfect, and absolutely the best feature of the bicycle for sure. Now, I said that there are a couple of kind of issues that I've come across during my ownership, or this short period of ownership of the sauce. Initially, there were kind of big concerns that I've had. However, now they're not really a huge issue. And I'll explain why. So the first thing that I want to point out is that the tires are probably the least favorite set of tires that I've had on the bicycle. And the reason is that these are a bit more off-road than I would like them to be, considering again that this bicycle is, I think, mainly intended to be used on the road. road, and they have this really weird tendency to pick up any loose gravel and just kind of chuck it into the frame. In fact, some of the gravel that they pick up, they chuck as high or they toss as high as the handlebars, and I've actually seen little rocks hit my handlebars and also the top tube, which is not something that you want because you know it can damage the paint and things like that. A option that I really think you should definitely consider is giving those who are considering the sauce a choice between maybe a different set of tires, especially when intending to use the bike off-road. These are WTB intersectors, I believe, 2.4 or 2.6 or something like that, and just that knobby tread pattern is, I think, what's causing those rocks to kind of stick to the tire, and then the tire just kind of chucks them up and then right into the frame or the what direction into your hands. So one of the least favorite, or actually the least favorite feature of the sauce are those tires. Not a huge issue because I guess tires, they're relatively cheap to replace and whatnot. For 50 bucks you can get a decent set of tires, but I think priority should definitely consider maybe including a different set of tires in this specific model, because again, this bike will mainly be used on the road, and I think a lot of people will notice that these tires have that tendency to toss rocks pretty high and into the frame and whatnot, and that's just not something that you'd want to experience. And reason why you do not want to experience that is because the paint on the sauce is, I guess, somewhat questionable. So the paint job actually looks nice. However, I've noticed that even the smallest of rock chips tend to chip the paint. And that's an issue because I've noticed quite a few paint chips on the underside of the down tube, on the chain stays, or I guess belt stays, on the seat stays, on the fork, even on the top tube. And initially I was kind of disappointed and I guess a bit worried and whatnot, but now it's not a huge deal to me because, or not a deal whatsoever, because again, this is an aluminum frame, and even if you ride it in the rain and it rains and whatnot, it's not going to rust and whatnot, it's not going to disintegrate, it's not a big deal. It looks kind of cheapish and whatnot and feels kind of cheapish and whatnot, but not a big deal to me at the moment, because for me this will be my kind of daily bicycle that I can use every single day and kind of abuse and whatnot, and I know that it will be reliable. So having those little, you know, chips or of paint just kind of gives it character in my eyes, but I wanted to voice that because maybe that's a deal breaker for some of you guys. And something again that Priority can do to kind of minimize that is just kind of include a different set of tires that will minimize those rocks hitting the frame, because to me it feels that even the slightest of rock chips will cause the paint to chip. And one example that I have actually is that the bike or the brakes come set fairly angled, and when I was adjusting the front brake, the handlebars turned on me, turned into a 90-degree angle, and the brake actually chipped the frame because it was low enough where the handlebars turned would cause the brake lever to actually hit the frame, and it just knocked a bunch of paint off, which was kind of surprising because it's not like I kicked the handlebars. They were kind of just moving freely and in a fairly slow manner and whatnot, and still managed to take a bit of paint off. And again, with those paint or rock chips removing the paint on the down tube and on the forks and whatnot, just kind of tells me that the paint job is somewhat questionable. Now, this may be an issue specific to my model, so I'm not really sure if that's an issue with different models and whatnot, but again, something that I wanted to voice to you guys because it's an issue that I came across with. One thing that I do want to point out is that I did reach out to Priority in regards to this issue, and they were so prompt in their response. And I say so prompt, I think the guy responded within like an hour of my email. Again, there wasn't really much that he could do, I guess. he can, I guess, offer me a new bicycle and whatnot. He did offer to give me a $50 in credit store for if I wanted to buy something. And I guess $50 is plenty to get me a bunch of green nail polish so I can touch up those paints. So I guess that was kind of nice. And you know, it really feels like they are trying to do their best to kind of please everybody, which is really nice to see. But again, something that I wanted to point out is just, you know, those two issues, because they might be a deal breaker for you guys. For me, they're not really, you know, even though I was a bit disappointed, but you know, now it's not a problem whatsoever. So yeah, I guess that, you know, that's about it for this video. I think I've talked about pretty much everything that I wanted to discuss, and I'm hoping that this video will serve as a kind of a good overview of what this bike is about. I know Kevin Central has done a video on it, but most of his videos are, you know, fairly positive and whatnot. He doesn't really dig deep into his reviews. And I think James also did a video too, but it was just kind of an overview. So I'm hoping that this video, you know, serves as kind of a good overlook of what the bicycle is, what it offers and whatnot. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, you know, feel free to leave them in the comment sections. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And also there is a priority Reddit group that if you guys want to join, you can, because there's a lot of really cool people that can answer any of the questions that I might not be able to answer. So that's about it for this one. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace out.